All right, hi everybody, and welcome to another installment of Ozzy and Keats. We're not great, we're just okay. I'm John Keating. He is Chris Osgood, the three-time Stanley Cup winning goalie of the Red Wings with 400 wins under his belt, and that still scares the bejesus out of me to think of how that exactly happened. How many of those 400 wins were earned, do you think?
We're more worried now it's above the belt than below the belt. Now that I've got it, the struggle.
Okay.
You do everything I'm
Are
supposed
you
to
okay?
do.
Are you
Take
okay
a,
there?
no. Take a week off. There goes 7, 8 pounds. Slap back on. I don't know. Stage. Now I
All right.
completely forgot what you asked me. I know you're shocked by
Well,
that,
I
but
know. Well, yeah, never mind. I will share this with people. We are coming to you through the great hand holding of Podcast Nation in Troy, Michigan, and I am joining you from Oddside Ales Tap Room in Grand Haven, where I
yeah.
have taken up residence. Grand Haven, not so much Oddside, although people here see me on a somewhat regular basis. Because after I finish a podcast with Chris Osgood, I need a pint or two.
That's a
Um,
perfect spot for you, too. It
yeah.
is really. I'll have to
Uh,
come there. Maybe. How far is that for me? 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. We're gonna get you over here. We're gonna do a couple of on-site podcasts for real. One at American Dunes Golf Club where they have
Ooh.
the flags for
Yep.
honor. And then we'll do one from on-site and get people here to.
I have not golfed that course yet. I've heard great things about it.
It's sensational. Yeah, it's sensational. All right, I will share this. I was walking around downtown Grand Haven, and I was stopped by a nice young a nice couple or a nice family that recognized me from my TV days, and they wanted to talk, and so we had a great chat, and then this nice gentleman shared with me A, how much he loves the podcast, and B, his devotion to Chris Osgood. And I have something to show you. People
Okay.
who are watching on YouTube will see this. It's an actual tattoo of Chris Osgood that this man had on his calf. Ozzy,
Really?
we're going to get your reaction to this. We're going to give you a
Let me
chance
see.
to see this. Somebody tattooed your face, your image, and I think you know about this, or someone had shared this with you already.
Oh, no, you know what? I haven't seen that. That is cool. It's an actual photo of me and my equipment playing. So I have not seen this.
On a man's leg. For
I
the
meant,
love of God, it's on a man's leg.
yeah, that
Yeah.
is cool. It looks like it's almost been drawn with a pencil. Is that correct? Like,
Yeah,
but it's
that's
not. I know it's
correct.
a
That's
tattoo, but it
correct.
looks
All right.
that's and from the equipment I'm wearing, that's from when we won in '08. So that's when that photo's from. So
Well, and we have questions from viewers. A lot of people are
yeah.
wondering things like this, and there's a couple of people that have asked about your helmet. You were the last goalie to
Yeah.
wear the old Cooper style helmet.
Hmm.
This from Kevin Feeney. How many of those do you still have, and how did you acquire them while you were playing?
Um, Well, it's interesting story. Paul Boyer, been a trainer with the Wings forever. Wow, he's got thousands of games. I
Well,
just
not trainer, but equipment manager,
equipment
right?
manager.
Yeah.
He used to have to go on um online and look for them. I believe it was on what do you call that little website or something? You find stuff. I can't recall because 52, heading towards 53, so I don't remember. But he'd find the pieces of these helmets because obviously they weren't making them anymore. And he'd find the back, he'd find the front, he'd find the mat, the cages on there, and he would build them from that, regardless of a color. He'd paint them red. So that's how we had to find them the last. He referenced them better than me. 5 years that I played, so it wasn't easy to find them. So when I did get them, we had to take real good care of them. We had a bag for them. I still do have the one that I wore in the finals in '08 and '09. I have that one in my closet still. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Like you and I have had that conversation before. What are you going to do with it? It's a really cool thing, but eventually, are my kids going to really be enamored by it? Like,
Yeah.
so
Well, but why the Cooper helmet? Obviously, I mean,
I
you
could
know,
see out of
everything
it.
everything
I
changes. I mean, I'm sure you tried
Yeah,
the
a
newer,
lot,
fancier
a lot.
models.
I always had people make masks for me, John. Really cool paint jobs, by the way. So the person that did that, I appreciate it. I just couldn't get used to it. The biggest thing for me was my sight. I couldn't see to the side as good as I could with my helmet on, meaning peripheral. I couldn't hear as good out of it because they're really locked in. They have little holes, but it's not the same. It was more comfort. And secondary, superstition for sure. I'm not gonna lie. And third, the players would never let me change. I remember I was wearing a mask in practice, and Draper was yelling at me from there, and put your helmet back on. And I wasn't having a very good practice wearing this mask. And he comes up to me, he goes, you know that's not you. That's what he said to me. And but I wasn't the last guy to wear it. Rick DiPietro, who I played with the Islanders, wore a
Yeah.
helmet
Okay.
late, and it was for concussion purposes, I believe. He had worn it, and so he was the last guy to wear it. And I remember I was in Toronto because the fans are so nice there. You walk by where all the box underneath, you kind of come through. And I had some young kid, and John, he was young, like I'm talking 9 or 10. Nice helmet, you loser. Like I'm like, was that necessary? Like I'm thinking to myself, like
Wow.
first now I'm like, where's his dad? You know what I mean? You know, you do that like if you're at a water park and you see that kid that's acting up and hitting all the small kids with water, you're like, where's the dad? Like, where are the parents? That's what I was, and I'm looking back, like I very rarely look back. I'm like, that little, that bastard.
Oh my
Where's his
God.
dad? Like
Wh-
you,
When
nice
when I
helmet, then loud, and the guys loved it. Oh my God. Drapes is howling like I'm like, that's
when I see you next in person
yeah,
from across the room, and hopefully
yelling.
there's there's some people having a beer. I'm just gonna say, nice helmet, you
You
loser,
loser.
and
It's just
yeah, you
it's like
loser.
a line from an 80s movie since I love the 80s so much, the movie. But
Yes,
isn't it
you
like
do.
this, like almost like, oh my God, is
Oh my God.
that's beautiful. But
All
it
right,
was all about comfort.
here's another question, and
Yeah.
the podcast viewers and listeners who have been with us for a while will
Mhm.
appreciate this. This is from Frank Budson.
Yep.
Can either of you see or hear the word ripple unoffensively anymore? This word is now ruined slash improved for me thanks to you two. Love the podcast. Thanks for providing laughter while I work on house chores. So we're going to play this right now. We're going to go back to that clip
Yep.
when we were sharing a story about being at Little Caesars Arena. It was a treat for her.
It was a treat
to
for her,
meet
for
you.
sure.
So yeah. All right. That's a good
See,
place
now
to
you're knowing what I was going to say, so you start laughing.
That's a good place to take a break. We will continue.
It rhymes with ripple.
After this.
Remember, like whenever you're having a day that you're off, you're not feeling great. You need a good laugh because laughing's good. It really is. It's a good remedy for a lot of things.
Yeah.
I play that and I start laughing because and things are best when they're not planned. So that wasn't planned at all. It was and that was the beauty of it. That's when we do it
Oh my
at
God.
the studio, and it was just it was classic and it has it. And now every time I do hear it referenced, I think of you and I think of that. And I think about the scenario at the LCA of how that happened and how I told you what was going on while we were doing the show or between periods when we were doing the show. Um, is why Ripple became Ripple.
Oh my
That's the
God.
way we'll put it.
It is so stupid, but so I mean, the timing of it could not have been better. Like I'm trying to get us to break to make sure that we don't do something that we shouldn't be doing, and all of a sudden you drop that in, and I just lost it, and then
Could
you
be on
just
your like
lost it.
tombstone. You could say, and he loved ripples. Like
Jeez.
you could put it on there. It's just a little
just
the
just in
bottom.
quotes,
It's just in
ripple.
quotes.
Yeah. J- John Keating, who's with us from 1900 to
Yeah.
2026, ripple. That's all.
Great.
That's all.
Oh my God, that was outstanding stuff. But for
Oh
sure,
my God.
it's another thing in life that's just it's great when you get a chance to laugh like that. Love
All
it.
right, Sarah Lane wants to know, Ozzy, on the road, who was your best roommate? And there
Well,
are
but
different, I guess there could be different connotations for best in that regard, right?
best was Drapes, and grew with Drapes too because Drapes is runs a tight ship, organized to a T. Um,
But
kept
that was year
uh,
round. You were roommates with Drapes
yeah.
when
It used
Drapes
to
when
be
you guys were
goalies.
single. What
It
about
used to be,
were you guys roommates on the road as well?
yeah, a little bit on the road. It used to be the goalies used to room together. I roomed with Vernie. That didn't work very good. It worked, but it didn't work. We'll put it that way. We late for a few planes. Uh, and Vernie's not Vernie's like a cat. He thinks that he can land on his feet no matter how far he falls. And that was the problem with that, if you know what I mean. But he's a guy that we really need to get on our show, by the way. And I'm working
Yeah,
on
we
that.
do.
So
We do.
he
All
has some
right.
great stories, and Drapes. It was Drapes. My first ever roommate was Jamie Pusher. My second was Drapes, I believe. And then I went to Vernie, and then back to Drapes. Thank goodness. Because I needed
right.
Drapes, and Drapes kept care of me. So he's doing a great job now for the Wings.
I need to mention that the great Kirk Gibson is going to be our guest on Ozzy and
Yes.
Keats, and that's coming
Well,
up in just a moment.
doesn't
One
get
more
better than that.
question for you. I mean, and Gibby's got stories, and Gibby's a big hockey fan, so this should be great. One more question for you. What is Ozzy's weirdest habit as a goalie? Any superstitions or pregame rituals? And every athlete that I've talked about superstition say it's not a superstition, it's just a habit. It's just something that I like to do. It's not a
Well,
superstition,
you go from like
but
getting
it
dressed
is.
way to being on time and having time. It was I had a puck that I carried around, and I used it to keep my focus. And where was it? It was a Red Wings puck too. I have to leave it in my stall before I went on the ice, sitting in a certain way. I think it was in my stall or maybe on my seat. I can't remember where I put it. It was just something I'd turn out, like before I go out, I'd stare at it for like 1 or 2 minutes. Just crazy stuff that goalies do, but it was to get my focus, because a lot of stuff is going on, and I did have to watch it.
We need to find that puck. We need to find that puck.
Yeah, well, guess what?
So you have some focus before you start one of these dang things.
Yeah, I need one back. I'll get a picture of your face on it, and and it'll say Ripple right underneath of it or above your head. And it was that, and I'd use it just to concentrate. I always have it, and then I get a new one, and if I lost, I'd get a new one, I believe, if I remember. So then that streak was over, that puck, then I get another one. So that would have been a kind of a weird thing for sure.
All right, last thing before we
Yeah.
bring in Gibby.
Thanks.
What are you going to do with all the ties with my face on them?
I'm gonna wear all 10 of them the first show when you're not there. I don't know how I'm gonna wear them.
in
Like
tribute?
one around my
No.
head, one around my neck, obviously, around my wrists,
God.
one around my waist. I'm gonna over my shoulders. But I thought it would make Logan a little bit uncomfortable if I decided to go into that area right away. So I
A
think
little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make him wear your ties. Is what I'm gonna do. That's what
Oh
we're
my
gonna
God. Oh my God.
make
Oh,
him.
geez.
Yeah, like I'm this
Yeah,
wily
good luck.
TV
You haven't even
veteran
met
of the
yet.
year.
They haven't even met him yet, but
I
good
haven't
luck
even
with
met him yet.
with that. Oh my
I
God.
was supposed to, but I didn't go to the pool party at Ken Daniels' house.
All
I
right.
thought they couldn't handle me.
Well, yeah, that's true for all of us. All right, let's do it. Let's bring in our special guest, Kirk Gibson, who joins us on Ozzy and Keats. All right, there he is, one of our heroes. There is Kirk Gibson, who joins us from his home in suburban Detroit, two-time world champion, and we'll talk more about that in a second. First of all, it's great to see you. How's your summer going?
Summer's great. It was a little warm earlier, but got some good golf and lost a few pounds, that heat gets to you. But then you got to hydrate yourself, and we all hydrate ourselves in different ways. You know what I'm talking about. And we all have interesting swim attire for the hot water that you're going to go into. It's been a good time.
All right, I will share with people as we get this going that I'm getting return texts from our friend Kirk Gibson at 3 a.m. Why are you up at 3 a.m?
Well, I mean, I waited an hour before I texted you.
No, I did not text you at 2. I can tell everybody.
Well, I mean, use your imagination. What do you do at 2 a.m? Why do I get up? Is my eyes open? I go, I'm excited to be awake. That's what I tell people. I'm not a heavy sleeper. I caught a couple naps yesterday. Was at the LH outing yesterday and came in for a power nap there. Then had another one probably about 8 o'clock at night. So when it's 2 o'clock, I've had my allotted sleep time, and honestly, that's one of the symptoms of Parkinson's. You just just doesn't. It's not happening too much. I used to be up for different reasons, but I get up and start doing my work. You've been hounding me to come on this show, and I was on the golf course yesterday, so I said, he's not stupid enough to have his ringer on.
Oh
But
yeah,
I do have to admit, Ozzy, I said maybe he does, and when he texted me back, I loved it.
Gibby, how's the golf game, anyways? You still
What
stroking?
day? Yeah,
Any day.
I'm not a great golfer. I'm dangerous, and when the betting starts, I guess I get excited for certain putts or get up against certain guys. But I I tell the story just recently to the people at my center, at my Parkinson's center. I used to be kind of a gruff, and I
Really?
say
Really? Wait,
yeah,
what was that? Really? You used to be gruff?
yeah,
I'm shocked
like
by that.
you put football pads on, and then you're supposed to be nice when you go out on the street. And it took me a while to learn that,
You were not.
but
You were
I
not.
had a
Yes.
therapist once tell me to go to the grocery store and pick a nice old lady that was checking, your groceries out, and ask her how her day was going. Well, I got up there and I couldn't do it. But she said, "How are you, young man?" And so my guy figured that out, that if I didn't say it, she would. And all these years later, I'm pretty chatty on the golf course, and we've met a lot of good people out
Yeah.
there, and that's what I really go out there for.
Yeah, people want to hear the stories. Have you golfed with a gallery ever, Gibby?
Oh yeah, I did
That's
it with
that's a
the
different
Buick
animal.
Open one time. They had that Pro-Am.
Yeah.
I was out in the driving range. I was just smoking it. I got up and looked down there, and I went, "These people are crazy.
Oh.
I might yank one."
Then they line up
Yeah.
like they would for the pros, John. When you're teeing off, it's the most nervous you'll ever be in your life because you don't want to kill somebody. With a rock.
You're good though, right? You got
I
good
used to
golf?
be good. That's my theme now, Gibby. Is I used to be good at a lot of things that I'm not good at anymore. I would not.
His wife will attest to that, by
I
the
will
way.
not play with a gallery anymore. I did once, and it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. Because they're lined up, John, when you're teeing off, like not as much as they are when
Well,
we
I've
see
seen
on
it.
TV,
Yeah.
but enough that if you miss one, it's screaming in there. So it's you got to be you got to be focused. You know what that's like or not like. So
Yeah, well, it's just like you used to shut people out a lot, or I used to get a few knocks, and then now, I was saying like, with the Tigers, I remember Jack Morris, he'd win, 11-10. He didn't care, and I don't care how I win either. I mean,
yeah,
and the Tigers right now, I mean, it's part of it. You just got to deal with the gallery, all this stuff, the distractions, the nerves. I mean, you just don't run away with these competitions. You didn't. You were good. You expected to win, but you didn't. There was always scary times. And I remember Sparky Anderson telling us, it's not over till the last strike, the last pitch, and then you can see where you're at.
Well, we'll get into Parkinson's, and we'll get into your world championships in just a second. But let's go back to the 3 a.m. stories. Do you have the two of you have to have great 3 a.m. stories after a big win, or maybe you were just out and about, and maybe you were single at the time? Is there a great memory that you can share here?
I'll give you one. I'll give you a 3 a.m. story. We were in Seattle, and we stopped for a snack on the way home and a water. And
Was that at Swanee's?
yeah, that was at Swanee's. And then actually, we went to Dave Rosema's room. It was Lance Parrish, I, and Dave Rosema, and we got screwing around, and I accidentally hit a lamp that was hanging over the table, and Rosie's like, "Hey man, take it easy. I don't want to pay for the lamp or whatever." And we started wrestling a little bit, and he like power rushed me, and my shoulder hit right on the corner of the,
Oh boy.
the little bed stand there, and a nice little cut on there. I immediately went bananas and grabbed him by the back of his head and dragged it across the carpet. And he- so we got it the next day. There's a part I'm leaving out intentionally, and Rosie's got these two big
Rug burns. Rug burns.
well, yeah, like strawberries. Okay, he's got two big strawberries. Okay, and mind you, he's pitching this day. The next day, he's pitching. So he went out, threw 15 changeups in a row, and struck the first three guys out. Threw a 2-hitter, and it was a little tender, so he'd put some Vaseline on there, throwing spitballs all day. He goes, whoop, 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 whoop.
Oh my lord! I just ran
to
into
this
Rose.
day, he still believes it's that 2 a.m. to 2 3 a.m. the good things can happen.
There you go. That's the way to live life. Good
That is-
things can happen at 3 a.m. Ozzy, what's your story?
Oh yeah, many from when we were younger, 20, 21, 22. West Coast, went to the wrong hotel once, tried to use my key. No go. Was wondering why. Went down and said, I think I got the wrong room. And she goes, I think you have the wrong hotel. You're
Oh
across
my
the street."
God. Oh my
Um,
God.
The best one though was an all-nighter, 8 a.m. and Gibby would know, he's won 2 championships. We won in Pittsburgh, flew back, was up till 7 a.m. I remember my my father-in-law driving me through the McDonald's drive-through, and I was filled to the rim with brim, if you know what I mean, right to the gills. Had to eat a ton, got home, and who would think it was a good idea to go to bed at 7 a.m.? Gibby, nope, went to the fridge and cracked open a few more. That was
Oh
after
my
we beat
God.
Pittsburgh.
It kicks it right back in, yeah.
Yeah, probably went to bed at about 7:30. Maybe slept 2 hours, 2-3 hours, right back down to Chelly's downtown the next day again and started all over again. So,
Oh my gosh.
but but Keats, you lose a lot more when you win. So when you do win, you got to take advantage of it, and that's exactly what we did.
Well, Gibby, what's that? And I guess for each of you, can you even begin to describe what the feeling is like after your world championship with the Tigers and your world championship with the Dodgers, and especially, your heroic parts within them? What's the feeling of satisfaction after the last out when you've become a champion?
Finally, it's so many times when we came up with the Tigers, we were good. We knew we were good, and even on the games that we didn't play well, we expected to win. And you win 3 out of 5, and Toronto wins 5 in a row, and you're always, in the way we approach it, we started 35-5, but we always were looking behind us. It's like you just can't drop your guard down.
Sure.
We were always taught that if you do, somebody's going to come up and get you. And on the last out, I remember just, in those pitches before, you are locked in. You're in your position, you're moving, your concentration level is higher than it's ever been. And to finally just let it go. And of course, when we ran into the pile, some guy came out of the stands and tried to take my hat off my head. I don't know if you've ever seen that. And so I got my hat back, let's put it that way.
Okay.
I went up in
Attaboy.
the locker room, and then you got champagne, and now they put goggles on. I don't know if maybe we'd be smart and do that, but everybody was having fun, and you just saying goofy stuff, and you're seeing grown men cry. And in '84 when we won, you have these, I don't know how you guys did it, Ozzy, but you had these big coolers. They're full of champagne with ice and stuff in there. Well, the players, you just rifle them through those. Those things don't last at all. And our new owner, Tom Monahan, came in there, and there was an empty, he had his suit on. He didn't want to get any champagne on him or anything. Well,
Good luck.
I told Lance there was about a half a cooler full of ice water, and we lifted it up and dumped it over Mr. Monahan. Not out of any disrespect, but we're like, "Come on, man, party!" He did not appreciate it. I can tell you that right now. He looked really quick. That water's cold.
Ozzy, that story of satisfaction when it's so?
Yeah, I think Gibby's right. I think it's the hardest thing to do is win. Time kind of stands still. When you're behind or you're trailing, time flies, and when you're winning and you have a chance at something like that, like you're winning a World Championship or a Stanley Cup, time is slow. So you got to really manage your mind and manage where you're at, and really stay laser focused, like Gibby mentioned, because it can slip away so fast. And I'm in Pittsburgh, and even '97 when we won, I wasn't playing. Vernie was. Seemed like the last 10 minutes take forever, and every play
Yeah.
is so big, and every play is so magnified. And in Pittsburgh, it seemed you kind of train yourself not to look at the clock, trying to take it whistle at a time, and not look. That speeds up a bit. The crowd, you don't even hear that. It's loud, but you don't hear that. You're laser focused in. You're more or less just focused on moment to moment, and it has to be like that. And it's hard to win. You lose most of the time, so you don't want that opportunity to slip by. And when they do, it hurts a lot. And those you tend to remember more than the winning. But in Pittsburgh, I remember the last play in '08. Still, it's kind of like slow motion when I saw it because of where I'm standing. I get a chance to see everything, and I get to really analyze it. I'll never forget. Datsuk was in the zone, in their zone, and could have just stayed there, and they would have been offside. He went down. Drapes changed. Our defenseman got caught, and I had the great opportunity to have a 2-on-1 with Hossa, Sidney Crosby, and Nick Lindstrom. So I was surrounded by a bunch of Hall of Famers in the last 10 minutes. So I thought that was pretty cool. But and even when Crosby came in, I remember he had a great backhand, and he kind of slapped it as one of the best in the league. And so I stepped out another foot. So it's funny, Gibby, when you're in these moments, how you see every little moment in time slower. And then it came across, and I kind of dove across, and I knew the time had already expired. So I was just trying to get up off my ass and get up to celebrate with Dan Cleary. So, but it's different. So when people are watching in the crowd, probably seems pretty quick, but for us playing it, it's real slow. You're seeing all
Yeah.
little things that happen within the game, and just thankful that you could stand up and know you'd won, and then let the party begin.
I got to ask you, one of my favorite games was when you had to go out there with Patty.
Oh.
Here we go.
Because Bernie had went with him, and then
Yeah.
then you're skating out, because if you take like an inch closer to him, he's coming, right? You
Yeah.
know it. You had to say,
Bernie-
I really want to.
Gibby, Vernie to this day, because he's the goaltending version of Rosema, still thinks he just kicked his ass 100%. That he never got a shot in. He never got in. It's a classic. Those two are almost identical. And also in their storytelling, they can talk forever. I ran into Rosie at the Live tournament. He talked for an hour and a half straight telling me stories. It was unbelievable. Wonderful time. It added to my day, made it even better, by the way. But those fights, I remember watching Vernie fight him. Vernie was exhausted, and he actually did a lot better than I thought he would. And people probably say the same thing about me, because Patrick was a pretty big guy, not real muscular, but strong. And I don't think Vernie had ever fought before. I think it was only one. But Vernie's like a little spark plug. He a little fire hydrant. He's stronger than people think. He did real well. And that really catapulted us. There's always moments and times to winning and taking yourselves to a championship. That was big. When I fought him, I just remembered I and again, like, things happen slower. I remember he came out, we were kind of dancing around and figuring out, I go, what am I going to do? Because I've never fought before. Had one fight in a schoolyard back in, I think, 5th grade. Probably lost by about this much, but did pretty well. Went to the office, and back then they give you the strap on the hand. Remember, whack you on the hand. That stung for sure. And I felt like it wasn't my fault, but I was there. And I remember going around, I'm like, okay. I remember watching two guys fight. Bob Probert, because I got a great first row seat to watch him fight often, and he kind of started lefts. I remember Joey Kosher. So I'm just going to kind of do what they do. And Darren McCarty. Mac used to start left. So I'm going to start lefts, even though I've never thrown a left. And I'm going to kind of fake him in. Now I'm going to bring my big right, which isn't a big right. It's a powder puff right. But it's going to look real good. And that was my whole thing, is I'm going to look real good no matter what. That was my goal. And I hope that I accomplished it. But I was
You
exhausted
did.
after
You
Gibby.
held your own.
I've never been so tired in my life. other than my marriage night when my wife attacked me for hours after we were married. That was the
Oh
last time
my
I was
God.
active.
Oh my God.
It's,
Oh
it's
my
true.
God.
And a lot of other mornings when I get up and golf after I was hungover on a trip. That's being
Well,
tired.
Gibby, you're a hockey fan, right? I mean, you were you were rooting on these Red Wings
Oh
living
yeah,
here in
we were
Detroit.
there for those guys to ascend to the top, and got to share the trophy. Had it out on the water in Lake St. Clair. You guys had parties at
Oh,
all around. We
yeah.
got to there's some it was funny. You guys had the cup, and the NHL guards them, right? So everybody wants to do something to it, to the cup, because I don't know why, but we were at a couple parties where guys are trying to drill the rivets out of the bottom and engrave their name in it. And one very respected team captain of yours, he said, "Oh, go ahead, I got this. Don't worry, you don't have to worry about it." Man, he had a crew.
Stevie said this. Stevie said, "Go ahead,
Yeah,
take
he
the
told the
rivets out
guy
of the
from the
cup."
NHL, "Don't worry, no problem. I got this." And those guys kind of, took their eye off it for a while. But Panger was there, and I'm trying to think who else was there. But those guys, yeah, they all wanted to open it up. They wanted to do something
Oh
differently.
my
And
God.
everybody, but my kids, we all grew up with that, and they got a chance to be a part of that. And that's where Hockey Town really proved it was Hockey Town. And we're waiting for that type of celebration to come back, and hopefully for the Wings' sake that happens. But like, it is so hard to win. People think, not only do you have to be good, things have to go right. You have to have some luck involved in it as well, and maybe a bad call in your favor, things like that. But the Joe Louis is no longer here, and it's like Comerica. There's never been a championship banner earned
Yeah.
in either of those arenas
Yeah.
yet
Yeah.
for the World Series, and that's a great challenge. The Tigers, they believe they can do it, and they're playing good, but there's a long way to go, and all these things that happened last night. Skubal gave up a grand slam. You wouldn't expect it to happen, but it does. Everybody's mortal, and it can happen to anybody.
All right. Well, let's talk of your mortality. I think everybody listening and watching is aware of the challenges that you have faced, and just going back and reading some of your history. It was there was a telecast where you just felt a little bit off, and that was the beginning of your Parkinson's journey. Is that right?
That was the beginning of me facing Parkinson's, and you tend to things happen along the way, and like if you get in a fight, some guy punches you in the lip and it's swelled up, you know what's going on. You say, "Well, the guy hit me," and things within my body, body functions, like I'd shave and this hand would just like clench up. That was the first sign I had in 2007. And that telecast was opening day of 2015. And it's like I just totally locked up. I couldn't even talk. But I was dealing with anxiety inside of me for quite some time. And I just walked off. It was post game. I just walked off and said, "I'll talk to you guys later." And I went over and saw a doctor in Grand Rapids, and he sent me to a neurologist. He told me I thought I had Parkinson's, and he sent me over to a neurologist, and they did all the tests and confirmed it. And the first thing you just wonder when you're going to die. I didn't really know what Parkinson's was. I had it for quite some time, and I wasn't diagnosed. In fact, it was frankly, it was missed. And then you just start to learn about it and what you can do. And here we are in 2025, 18 years after my first sign. We've constructed a wellness center for Parkinson's over on Middle Belt and Northwestern Highway. And within that, there's about, we projected there's 8,000 people within 35 minutes of our center
Wow.
that have Parkinson's. It's an epidemic. It's man-made. I mean, and we're into it now, and people tend to get overtaken by the disease. It's hard to be yourself. It's hard to talk. It's hard to smile. It's hard to walk. It's hard to be coordinated. And, we've basically tried to get them to fight back, give them hope. There's still quality of life, and it's not a death sentence in itself. So that's what we're doing. And, we're going to get to as many people as we can. I've been all over the country. We've been to England, the Netherlands, and we're collaborating with people. It's hard to get people to collaborate with each other in a positive fashion, because we tend to put, whether I got the Tiger hat on and you got the Yankee hat on, it's like the hats, it doesn't matter. We can accomplish so much more if we share the information, the data ourselves, and try and figure this thing out. But it's an epidemic right now, and it's not going to slow down unless you take control over it. You lose the ability to produce dopamine, which helps you coordinate your movements. And if movement matters, if you can move and do things. I mean, like I walk in the center, I'm going to play ping pong, go in box. There's dance in there, which Keats, maybe we'll give you an honorary dance lesson.
Nobody wants to see that.
Yes, they do. I'm telling you, they want to.
But how much pride do you take in the foundation? Because it's you guys do terrific work. Obviously the wellness center is your crown jewel right now, but it's been work that's been in progress for quite some time.
It was an idea a little less than 2 years ago. We finished the facility. It's 95% finished. The people are coming in. Right now we've engaged 700 people who have Parkinson's, and we've give the assessment. We're just about 115 of those right now. We got a lot to go through. I mean, all those 700, they're going to come back. They're going to get assessed, and when you get assessed and evaluated, you get a color, and the color tells you what exercise, what movement you can get in. So it's just begun. Our official opening is October 6th. Then we're on our way, and we've projected for 10 years. We have to have raised $28 million over the 10 years. We're not quite halfway there yet.
Wow.
But we've had great response. My CEO is a guy named Stephen Ayer, who's right now on Mount Kilimanjaro. He's going to climb it on one leg.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you ever
Wow.
met him. It's one leg, no prosthetic. And he's looking to raise between $700,000 and $1 million on that climb.
Wow, terrific.
The team and the volunteers who make up that center and my foundation are incredible, tireless workers. They are so selfless. It's incredible. And if you came in there when the people come in next week, I promise you, it'd make you cry. They're so
That's great.
grateful for an opportunity to put themselves back on the map and do. I mean, you can do the fun things you want to do. You just gotta take the initiative, and that's what we're there to help them do.
All right, two things before we let you go. Is there a story where you tackled Sparky Anderson, where he wanted to know what it was like, for a football player to be playing baseball, and you tackled the professor?
Well, in 1983, he called in the first game of the year in Minnesota on the road and said that I was going to be a platoon DH because he didn't like the way I was where the direction I was headed. And so
Nobody
that's
does. Nobody likes the direction you've been headed for quite some time, but that's a whole
yeah,
other
well,
story.
so we were in Seattle, and if you're not playing, you got to run your sprints out there, from like the foul line to behind second base. And he occasionally would come over and say, if I was he'd line up. If I was a DB, I'd press coverage you. I said, don't ever do it. I said, because I don't care who you are. I'm going to treat it like you're going to press coverage for me. Okay, I'll do what I want to do. And sure enough, he came up there and he's like, because I wasn't playing, he knew I was pissed. So he came up there and he was like, if I was a DB, I'd get uptight on you. I said, really? He goes, yeah. So I picked the ball up and throw it to Rosie. I go, set hut. So I take off. He press covers me. I take off. And I just started to turn my head like I was running an out pattern. And he jumped that road. And I turned away. Boom! I crushed him. He went back about 7-8 yards. His glasses came off. He was crying. He was crying. And he says to Rosie, that son of a bitch is crazy. I said, I warned you. And I said, can you take it? And he just shook his head. And he told me before he died, the reason he did that was because he was trying to teach me a lesson. But he thought he was going to lose me. So he said he had to go up there and
Wow.
he had to take it. And he called me in one day and said, he asked me, he just said, can you take it? I said, take what? Can you take it? Can you take it? I said, yeah, I could take anything you give me. So this is 2 years later. I said, can you take it? He just shook his head. He said I was nuts, which I was, but I later, when I was managing in Arizona, had a guy, Barry Enright, pitcher. He couldn't get the ball inside. It's like we wanted him to get it inside, so he was throwing a bullpen, and I walked up there. I went out, Brandon Webb, Dan Herron, JJ Putz. I said, I'm going to go in there and see. I'm going to tell him to drill me because he won't throw inside. I'm going to give him an opportunity to drill me. Will he do it? They all said no. I went up there. He's throwing, and Mel Stottlemyre Jr. is his pitching coach. I said, what are you guys working on? Change-ups. I go, let's work on throwing it inside. So I get in there. I'm standing up there in the bullpen. Away. So I said, get the effing ball inside, down the middle. I said, okay, you're never going to have a manager do this again.
Oh.
Stick it in my ribs. I want to feel it. Right in the ribs. Okay, I want to see it. He goes, you sure? I go, right there, right in the ribs. So I get in there. What do you think he did?
Down the middle
drilled
again.
It was outside. It was away. So we got to get rid of this son of a bitch, man. He can't even. But I was thinking, I got to take it, and I was ready to take it. And I saw Barry this year. He was a pitching coach for the Angels, and of course he has a different version of the game.
Sure.
Of that session. But I got witnesses.
All right. Last thing. How much do you miss me on Pick the Stick and just doing games on TV? Because each of us have transitioned out of that gig.
Yeah, we've transitioned. All right. Yeah, you really love that pick the stick, didn't you?
No. Well, depending on that, we had a lot of fun with it over time.
Yeah.
We did. It's like, from people reaching into your pocket to make their picks and whatnot. It was It was great fun.
No, that was my favorite one. When I reached
Yeah.
into that was
The Mario?
Mario's pocket. His coat pocket was open a little bit, and I wrote a name on there and put a pick in there. And yeah, I said, look down in your pocket. He pulled out. He was like, he thought a magician got him. Yeah, but we had a good time. You know, hell, that started way back in 2 years. Was it 99, 2000?
Yeah.
Those were the days. The Tigers weren't very good, and
Well,
we
you
had
and Josh Lewin were terrific, and then obviously there was Mario, and then you got back into coaching. But you and Josh were what were you were the nerd and the something. I mean, you were the geek, the geek and the bully or something like that. Yeah. I mean, those were great days. I mean, obviously those were the beginnings of Fox Sports Net in Detroit, and we were back at Tiger Stadium, and your tours around the ballpark are still the stuff of legend.
Yeah, well, you know what? Things change over time, and we had a good run, and it's time to step aside and let somebody else take over and put their spin on it. And I thoroughly enjoyed trying to explain what was going on and trying to get people to understand. You know, Sparky, Tommy Brookins, Rex Kern was throwing down in Texas, and he had a big curveball, and he threw him a curveball. It hit on the grass, okay? And Tommy Brookins swung at it. I mean, that's like a 50-footer. And he came in there, and Brookie struck out, obviously, and he came in there, and Sparky says, "How can you swing at that?" And Brookie really quick said, "I was looking for it. He's not going to waste that on me." And I swung at a pitch like that before. I know what it feels like because the guy's got good stuff, and you know it's not that easy. Sometimes you swing at motion. You know, guys are deceiving. I can't tell you. I mean, how many Ozzy? Can you think of a time when the guy threw you just a meatball and you just whipped on it?
Oh, many times, Gibby, from a long ways away too, almost from out of state. Yeah, and you're right because like you just mentioned, you guys read it out of the hand, off the motion, and we read it off sticks. So sometimes when they do miss it, it's almost makes us look worse or makes us look like we're foolish. And for sure, it's different, but a lot of the same similarities is what you're talking about from my standpoint to your standpoint. It's you're reading stuff come off guys' hands. I'm reading stuff come off guys' sticks. Sometimes they cross you up a bit. Sometimes they throw, like you say, no pun intended, a change up, and it makes you look foolish. And no, that's part of the game, and you got to move on. Like a lot of things in life, upward and onwards.
You know, if you think about it, when a ball leaves a pitcher's hand, you've got a blink of an eye to see it, decide if you're going to swing at it, then actually swing and try and make contact. And it happens pretty quick. But you know, hey, we're grateful. We still live in Detroit. We still support the Tigers and the Wings, and we're looking for a championship this year. I always like to sit in right field, but that's where I played. And I got my season tickets. I've had them from the first day at Comerica Park. They're in the first row, almost straight away right field.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And they have a good time out there. So here we go.
Attaboy.
Gibby, thanks for joining us. It's great to see you. I encourage everybody to go, just Google Kirk Gibson for Parkinson Wellness to make a contribution or to be involved, or if someone in your family is dealing with Parkinson's, this center is a great resource. I look forward to crossing paths with you soon and miss seeing you on a regular basis. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Gibby.
Gotcha. Ozzy, what's your index in golf?
Oh, so that's not good now. I'm a 14 handicap, so that's like about a 12 something. It slowly went up each and every year.
So you got to give
these
me
don't work anymore.
You
These
give
don't
me
work.
eight strokes.
Yeah, you'd
And,
beat me.
I don't know, but we're gonna find out.
All
My
right,
score
there's the
keeps
challenge.
atrocious.
There's the challenge.
It's like I'm batting under 100 with my short game. It's not good.
I got you.
It's not good.
Among many things in life, he's batting under 100.
All right, boys.
Gibby,
Thanks.
all right, boys.
Thanks for
All right,
having me.
there's the great
Thanks,
Kirk
Gibby.
Gibson. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time on
See
another
ya.
installment of
See ya.
Ozzy and Keats.
Ozzy and Keats is produced by Zachary Davis and Bill McAllister and proudly distributed by Podcast Nation in Troy, Michigan.